Alright, so we're back on the E39 today. Before we put the fan shroud on, I thought, well, let's go ahead and check these cam sensors to see what's going on. Lo and behold, because it's had the random P340 light. Lo and behold, it has a Chinese-made exhaust cam sensor in it. Those just don't work. They do exactly what the cars do and throw random lights, make it run weird. But look at the bolt that I pulled out of it. Let's see if it'll even focus on it. Look how rounded that thing was. Usually these little Allen bolts, if they strip out, you can hammer in a torque spit socket, but this was so far gone that didn't even work. So we had to resort to the needle nose vice grips. We could just barely get it on there. Thank God it was not super tight. Broke it loose and slowly just turned it on out. So we extracted that. We're going to put a new bolt in that. We're going to put an OEM cam sensor back in it. He told me that he replaced the intake side sensor, so we probably ought to take a look at that. And the Chinese sensor, how you could tell, for one, there's no markings on it. Other ones that have a little BMW logo, or at least say Bosch. It don't have to be OEM, but at least it needs to be a name brand. Then this super bright green O-ring on it, and when it fit in there, it was just all loose. Seems like the bolt out, it basically just fell out. So that's not going to work. Let's go ahead and get the right one put in it, and then we're going to go ahead and pull. Let me see here. We're going to pull this hose there. We're going to pull the Vandal solenoid off, and that should allow us to get to the intake cam sensor. May not have to do that. We're just going to look first. All right, so we're back. The wind picked up about 30 miles an hour, so probably going to move this car out of the wind here in a little bit. We have the other sensor here. We have the factory sensor. You can see it step down, and we have the cheap China one, which is fat all the way through. That's just one difference. The factory one will actually say BMW on it. See a little logo right there? It'll focus. Come on. Yeah, you can kind of see it. So you pretty much got to have that. We're going to put OEM O-ring on it, and then we're going to go after that intake one. Okay, so we just pulled out, and I'm not making a video of doing this because this video isn't about that. But we'll go and show you what's happening here. We pulled out the intake cam sensor. He said he replaced that, but I think he's mistaken. I think he replaced the exhaust cam sensor. The intake cam sensor is an OEM. Get over here in the shade so you can see. Maybe you can see. If you can see it or not, but it has a little BMW logo right there. He's got some blue paint on it for some reason. It is the OEM sensor, but look at the back of this thing. What the hell's going on with that? Is it like missing the back plastic cover, or I'm not really sure. It looks all weird. It's definitely old. I mean, I don't know if I were to go and replace that while I'm in here or not. The problem is he lives about an hour away, but he has to pass smog, so I don't want to send him on his way and then have check engine light. Now when I scanned this thing the other day when I got it in, it had the P340 and it had a random misfire for each cylinder, not just one, for all 6 cylinders. And that's a telltale sign of CCV problems. That's also a telltale sign of camshaft position sensor failure. So I don't know. Let me go grab a good one here and let's see if the back looks the same. I don't think it does. New one does look the same way. Or not a new one, but I have another used one. These usually don't go bad, the intake side. So I don't know if I were to switch or not. I don't have a new intake side here. I just have good used ones. I don't know. Just standards do then if you don't really. I'll probably go and call him and see what he wants to do real quick before I put that back together. We probably are to take a look down at the crank sensor and make sure it's not been messed with and make sure it's not aftermarket. That'll definitely wreak havoc and cause all kinds of odd starting problems. Okay, so we got the bottom of the cam sensor drama here. He did replace this. It is a used one. That's why it looks like it's original. He said it had the cam codes before and after he replaced it, so it's definitely this. He didn't mess with the crank sensor at all, and it is now starting fine without any problems. So that being said, if you guys ever taken one of these out before, they basically just plug in here like this. You can even see that or not. And you can't use our ratchet with any of these. You got to use an Allen wrench, and you got to sit here and turn it out. It takes about 5 minutes, and it has the same bolt as the exhaust and the same bolt as the crank sensor. So we're just going to go ahead and do a reinstall of this. We've already cut off, we're going to do the CCV delete too while we're this far and have the airbox out. We already cut off this guy. He has a catch can. It's on its way here. It's not here yet. We'll probably just go ahead and set it up for him if it don't come in by the time he gets here, to where all he has to do, we'll put the hoses over here. All he has to do is just plug it in. We'll temporarily just cap the vacuum side off. And I told him to M52, the standard M52. Hold on a second. I think I got goo on the lens. Just a glare. The regular M52, the single vanos, does better with no vacuum to the catch can. So those, you know, over the years we've tried different stuff, done different stuff. We usually run the catch can of hose from there, adapt it down to the 3/8, and you could put a catch can with a breather on an M52, which is the best, or you could just leave the other side open and it'll catch all the vapor. So we'll give him the option on this. You could do that too on these. Your choice to run vacuum to the catch can or not. Running vacuum to the catch can usually does pretty good. It does seem like it can cause a leak at the valve cover gasket if you don't have a new one on it. We're going to have a new one on it, so it doesn't matter. And also at the oil dipstick tube, it can cause a leak there. You might have to replace that once you put that much negative vacuum on the crankcase. You guys can see, to delete this, all we're going to do, or all we've done so far, is take these 213s out of the power steering canister and just kind of slipped it off to the side. Now, we didn't have any coolant in it, so we just took the upper hose back off, and that's going to allow us access. Come on, camera. It's going to allow us access to snip those hoses going to the CCV. We're going to pull the top off. We're going to pull the vacuum log off. We're going to cap that stuff off. A lot of you guys ask what I do with the little single vacuum line going to the fuel rail. You could either cap it off, you could run it to constant vacuum. It seems like it doesn't really make any damn difference on this car for some reason. It's made to set up that pressure regulator to have vacuum that goes up and down with the engine. It's not supposed to have direct. So that's kind of your preference. I don't know what we'll do on this. I haven't got that far yet. Hey guys, so we're starting the CCV delete. And like I said many times, you do not have to take the old one out. To take the old CCV out, you pretty much got to take the intake off. You can slip it out of there, but you can't take it out without breaking it. It's almost impossible to put it back in, the new one back in, without snapping it in half. Then you go through all the trouble to replace it, start the car up, and you still got link codes. So, the hell with that mess. All we've done here is just taking out our little Torx bolts that hold the vacuum log or equalizer in, and we just took our knife and just snipped that off. Now, that hard plastic pipe was so rotten, basically, I just barely push on, the knife went right through it. It shouldn't be that rotten, and we can see here that the tube was full of oil, the vacuum tube. The CCV is definitely failed or failing, and it's definitely time to get rid of it. So somebody's already done a little work here. Somebody's already put a rubber line, go from side to side. So as long as it's good, which it's not as hard as, well, it's not too bad. It is getting pretty hard though. If I got something here to replace it, we'll replace it. We're gonna have to go ahead and cap this off. You can, if this is still the hard plastic, not rubber like this, you can just remove all that. You have to cap this one off. Now M54 doesn't have the back one, it only has the front one. You cap that one off and you cap this one off up here. So I don't know, this thing's pretty hard. Let's see what we got here to cap that off with. We'll definitely hose clamp everything in and get it blocked off for them. And then we already cut the hose going to the valve cover. The next thing you have to do is cut the hose going from the oil dipstick tube, and got to plug that. That rubber tube going from that, you can see it down there or not, it's pretty dark. right there. It comes off the bottom of the dipstick. The thing about that is, whenever you do that, you got to make sure that hose is not rotten. If that has a pinhole in it, it'll act as a siphon. Even if it's plugged, it'll siphon all the oil out of it. Okay, guys, so we're back, and all we've done here, I think we're gonna go ahead and leave this because it's not too bad. We have the main hose that goes down to the CCV. What we did, we just basically sorted the bolt out, or found a bolt. We've actually tapped it in. We put a drop of sealant on it, so no air leaks around the threads, and we just took the ratchet and just threaded it down in there. You don't want to get one too big because you could crack the tube if it's too tight. This one was pretty decent. Luckily here we got buckets and buckets of bolts. So we're going to go through right now. We're going to clean up these O-rings with some WD-40 or penetrating oil and a microfiber. We'll go ahead and give a little squirt down in each hole. And then we're going to reinstall this guy and put the bolts back in it. Okay, so we went ahead and refitted the tube there. Everything went great. Like I said, use a little penetrating oil or WD-40 to seat those rings. You could use lifting grease or whatever you want. So the next thing we're working on is this. Now there's two different options. You could just put a hose over the top of this. It's usually a 7/8 and clamp it. Or you could, if this is still good, you can reuse that. That way you don't have to have quite such a big hose to go from this size on down, because, you know, obviously that's quite a bit smaller than that, right? So we took our razor knife, and you can see this has a little slit in it now, and we just stuck on there like that. We just took a razor knife and gently cut down, and then you could pull this old tube off. We won't be using that at all. And then we're going to refit this guy back on there like that, and that's going to give us a new smaller diameter hose to come out from there. That'll go to an adapter, come over to the catch can. So we're going to go ahead and tend to the small vacuum line. It went to the CCV. It goes around the back of the intake. Now in Euro models, they have a fuel pressure regulator on the back of the fuel rail. Hope you guys even see that. It's so bright over here. Let's look on the back of the fuel rail. This does not have that. This should have it on the filter under the car. So we're going to go do now, if I remember right, that line was only vacuum, but we're going to go ahead and pull this filter housing out, pull this guy here out, and this is going to allow us to get in there to access the lines on the back of the intake. That'll also let us get to the oil dipstick tube to cut it off and seal it off. Okay, so we got the dipstick rubber line plugged off, and the line was actually new. Somebody just replaced it. It was aftermarket, like fuel line. We took a bolt, put in it, and I threaded it down probably that far. I'll probably go and put a clamp on it yet. Probably don't need it, but just to make sure. And then I think other than that, our line that goes back to our, that came from our CCV, it runs through this metal line up here, goes into right there, which is really rotten. Then it goes to a hard plastic line, and it goes down here, and I'm pretty sure it should run through the, like under the car to the fuel pressure regulator, which should be about right there behind the wheel on the bottom of the car under a plastic cover. And then I noticed that our two vacuum caps, you probably can't see that. This one right here, you can barely see it, it's not in focus though. It was actually missing the vacuum cap altogether. You can see it's dirty where it was. So we have this port and one right beside it. I remember right, one of them was constant vacuum, one of them was like a regulated vacuum. That fuel pressure regulator is not going to want constant, it's going to want regulated. If I remember right, and you look that up, it's been a while since I've done an M52 TU like this. Now, mind you, M54 and M56 don't have that at all. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We pulled the other cap off, the other smaller vacuum line. So there's two ports here. There's one side by side. The outer one we're going to use for the catch can. It gets a little bit easier. The other one is a little bit smaller, and we stuck, where is it here? We stuck this piece of rubber line on it. We went in and took this guy here off. This is just bunch of rotten stuff. We'll go and snip that off. So the tube on the fuel rail is not going to be used anymore at all. And then this rubber line will just be routed back to the hard plastic line like that. And that's going to go back to the fuel pressure regulator. And that should work fine. We'll go ahead and do that. We'll clean that part up. We're pretty much done with the CCV block off. Other than that, and ready for a catch can install when he brings it over. And I think we're ready to snap that on her, put that air box back in, put all the fan shroud back in, fill and bleed the coolant. And I think we're just left only with the valve cover gasket replacement. Other than that, we need to swap the seats and we're done. Well, we think we're done. We need to do that. We need to go drive it and make sure it's not going to have any other error codes or problems.